Yeah, we'll wait for everyone to get on. It's been a week, you guys. And it's only, what, Wednesday, Thursday? I don't even know what day it is. Who, Maddie? Well, I just got done breaking up a dog fight. The one time I took Brody's muzzle off, he even had the cone on still. I just broke up a dog fight, that's why. Like the adrenaline rush is kind of heading out now. And they were at it, like they both had each other by the mouth. So I got bloody dogs. I'm tired of the dog fights. It's been, 3 weeks straight of dog fights. And I'm hoping that getting him fixed is going to alleviate it. But if it doesn't alleviate it soon, I can't leave him in a muzzle all the time. And I can't be that vigilant all the time when, if I'm gone, I need my neighbor to come let the dogs out. I can't have her even do that because these two want to fight. So, yeah. Just pray that the testosterone in Brody settles down now that he's been snipped. They've been okay until yesterday. Is it echoing for you too, Ron? There's a little bit of an echo. I don't know why. Yeah, I know. But really, neither one is. So, and Sully tries to back down when I say back down, but Brody keeps coming at him, and he's always going to fight back. So, when somebody's got you by the face, you're going to. Oh, yeah. As long as you guys don't have an echo, I don't care. I'm on really early tonight. So we can chit chat for a bit first. I don't know if it's going to let me keep inviting people. I invited some, but then it made me stop. So I didn't get to invite Mark. Oh, there we go. Now it's letting me. There we go. Plus, I just got home. It's been a long week at work. I'm supposed to work out tonight. I don't think that's going to happen. I've been really, really tired because I haven't been getting any sleep. And then I got like 7 hours last night. It was amazing. Felt really good. I woke up to Brody trying to play with Sully, which I didn't want to end up exactly with what we ended up with today at 12:30 in the morning. So I broke that up. Hey, Mark. So I broke that up. And then they all went back to sleep. And then I got up at 4:30. Yeah. I woke up at 4:30 and found my journal on the floor. Luckily, he only tore part of the cover. And it had been in my bed. So somehow he grabbed it out of the bed, chewed up part of the cover, but not one page was touched. Praise God. So for right now, he's on timeout in the bedroom, and Sully's licking his chops, making them stop bleeding. So you missed it, Manny. We just had a big dog fight. They had each other by the face and tore up my last cone. So he's without the cone now. Hey, Kenneth. You guys, I didn't have a title for this one because I didn't know this is what we were going to be doing. But apparently, I did put it on the YouTube. We are going to actually have kind of an open discussion tonight about it. But there's a little bit of a message, I guess, about Chronos versus Kairos versus, how do you say it? Pleroma? pleroma time. I'm good. You? Hey, Donna. Oh man, I love some. You guys are so creative with some of your screen names. I mean, with your little handles. How you doing? How's the weather over there? I have to say, we all day today, everybody's been like, oh my goodness, it's so much cooler today. The weather's so nice. It's 94 degrees here, but for us, because it's been 107, 110, 115, we think it's like springtime because it's 95. Everybody's like, oh, it's time to pull out the sweaters. Hey, I used to know an Aaron Mathis. He was a good guy. Man, I feel like I feel like a smoker. Like my chest hurts now from yelling at those dogs. It was bad enough, Manny. Fists were involved. I had one by the collar and the other one was getting socked in the side to try to get them apart. Which I think it was just more posturing than. Yeah, I know. It was I couldn't find it. I took it off this morning because I don't leave it on him when I'm gone during the day because they're in separate rooms. Yep. And now I'm going to have to buy a new one. And he was the one who started it again. There was no reason for it other than just being jealous over who was closer to me. So he did. He hid it up by my journals where I had them. They were under the journals. That's why I couldn't find it. So he has it back on. Right now he's in the bedroom without it because I got to see if his nose is going to swell up, if his muzzle's going to swell up where they had each other by the face. And if so, he's sleeping in the back bathroom by himself. He started it. He gets the punishment for it. I don't know where Sully went. Sully actually would back off when I told him back off, but then Brody would go at him again. And I was so busy trying to grab Cooper, who was biting Sully's leg. I mean, biting Brody's leg, trying to protect Sully. It was actually, if it wasn't dangerous, it would have been cute to watch this little guy over here trying to protect his younger and much bigger brother. So I've got a 15-pound dachshund over here biting the leg of a 60-pound golden retriever as he's fighting with a 125-pound Great Pyrenees. But yeah, if it doesn't stop in a couple of weeks, I'm not going to leave him muzzled all the time. We'll find him a new home. I know. I got you. Speaking of which, James, are you on, like full attention on? Or are you doing other things too? Can you moderate tonight if need be? Manny's like splitting attention between two things right now. So he's not going to be as quick on the trigger to mute people as what he usually is. And you know my basic rules. No BS. No flirting. I mean, you guys can flirt with each other all you want. I don't care. Just no flirting with me. Not the time or the place. Appreciate it. Oh, there's that bromance again. It's always you, Ron. You always have to be the troublemaker. Feeling lonely over there? He missed the Song of Solomon. Don't wake up passion and love before it's time, Ron. Hey, Jenny. We got about 10 minutes, guys, before I get us going. It's actually, like I said, it's going to be more of a discussion. So I'm sure James will pop on. I'm good. How are you? I'm tired, but I'm good. Had a couple of little breakthroughs. So that's always nice. Anybody seen Gambit lately? Just praying for him, wondering how he's doing. I know he was on here last time for a little bit. I know, Chris, right? I went and looked back when I was looking through my journals. It's funny because I did start my lives. I started going on and doing just like visiting lives in November, the end of November, and then started like doing lives the end of December, like these kind of lives. And you've been there since like the first ones I was on in November. You like the OG. That's back when we just used to talk about what was going on and talk about God and what he's doing, and before he had me giving messages. Like I knew what I was talking about. Were you? The little videos? Send what? What am I sending? That's my knee, guys, just so you know. That's a knee. You guys can't actually see it, especially in the YouTube one. That looks really weird. It's my knee. I need to change my contacts. I can't read these. I will. Give me a minute. We're not going to do it just yet. Yeah, you did go back and watch all of those. You need to not mention those. The unmentionable days. It's actually her birthday today. I wished her a happy birthday. We haven't talked since last November-ish. Hey, Sully. How's your face? Oh, I'm so sorry, Gramps. Hi. Oh, you got some cuts on your nose. I think I might have to give you some of the aspirin. Yeah, piggy. Come here. Let me see your nose. Sully, come here. Let me see your nose. Come here. Hey, come here. I'll scratch your butt if you come here. Hey, turn around. Sully, come here. Come here. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, you're going to spill a little bit. You need a bath. That's what you need. Yeah, the two of them had each other by the face. And Brody's in there barking, but too bad for him. Good boy, Sudley. I'll give them both some carprofen for the swelling. Well, you would breathe heavy too if you had a nose that was swollen closed. I mean, it's not that bad. Don't rub your nose. Hey. Unless you're talking about James again. Hey, Tony. He's over there panting. Or maybe you mean you're the heavy breather. That could be too. I don't know. You could try. Tony, I haven't gotten to read your email yet. I was at work all day and I just got home and had this, so I'll try to read it tonight. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are funny. I'm just trying to relax, guys. Dog fights and work and all the hecticness. Is that even a word? I don't think that's a word. I'm going to make it up. The hecticness. Because it's beyond busyness. It's not just being busy. It's things being kind of crazy, scattered and running and He is lonely. He is definitely lonely. Yeah, it is. It's just right now, it's busy, busy, busy between meetings and church stuff. And yeah, now I'm trying to find um, a discipleship program for our church. Yeah, I was tasked with helping do that and getting together the ladies' Bible study. So, all right. I'm going to pray us in and we'll get going, guys. We're going to talk about Chronos time and Kairos time and um, pleroma, pler, I don't know, pleroma time um, evening. So, so we're going to talk about those three things in a very specific combination of them. So let me pray us in. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this time together. We thank you for bringing each one of us together again. Father, we thank you for the promises that you give. We thank you for the promises that you keep. Father, you are not a man that he should lie, and you do the things that you say you're going to do in your timing and your way. And in all those things, it's for our good. And we thank you for that. And we pray that you will place a hedge of protection around this live, that each one will hear what you want them to hear tonight, that each one will be able to take this and apply this to their lives in the way that you want them to do. And we pray this in the name of your son, Jesus. Amen. Okay, so here's the thing, guys. I'm going to give you a definition because honestly, God told me, hey, Brett, I didn't see you come on. Can you also moderate for me, Brett? You're still on there as a moderator. So if you could help moderate, because Manny's kind of doing double duty tonight on something else. So if you wouldn't mind. I guess you're sneaky. Sneaky, sneaky. Okay, so I didn't plan on doing a message tonight. The other day, God told me I've been really struggling with something this week, and he told me I need you to stop thinking you know my timing. I need you to stop worrying about timelines on things. I need you to stop looking at the promise for one of the specific promises as an end result. I need you to look at that as just one stepping stone in the big picture. And I need you to do a deep dive on how I look at time. And so I immediately started Googling. And if anybody wants on, let me know. I immediately started Googling seconds, minutes, days, hours, weeks, years, months, how God looks at each specific kind of time. You know, like each limit of time that we have. Does he look at minutes in a certain way? And I couldn't find anything. I literally could not find anything other than the fact that a lot of times in the Bible, when it talks about days and like the 1260 days or, you know, the 2600 days, that it is actually talking about years. And that's still just a theological theory. There's no proof behind that. But it was like, okay, well, there's that. And then I was like, Lord, what do you want me to do? And he's like, just relax. You don't have to have a specific message. And I'm like, oh, were we just going to do more of a flow tonight then and more of a discussion? And he's like, yeah, because you don't actually understand this yet. So today I was sitting at lunch. Actually, yesterday I sat there all night last night and had planned on spending last night doing a deep dive into time and finding out more about time. And he ended up taking me in a very prophetic conversation with someone who I got rebuked for my attitude and for thinking I knew better. And I didn't like it. I admitted that I didn't like it, but it was definitely very necessary for me in the moment. And so then this morning, he downloaded about time. And so when I went to lunch today, he's like, this is what I want you to look at. Like it just opened up like a book to me. He's like, I don't want you looking at minutes, seconds, days, months. That's part of this, but that's not what this is about. And all of a sudden it just opened up to me about Chronos time and Kairos time. Now we've all heard those terms. So Chronos time is chronological time. Okay. Minutes, seconds, days, weeks, months, years. It's that quantitative time. It's that quantity of time. We can measure it. So when we hear, 7 days in a week, that's Chronos time. When we hear January, February, March, that's Chronos time. This is the time that we can plan out. This is the time that we count our lives by. This is linear time. Okay, so that's what Chronos time is. It is a duration, something that we can plan and manage within. Okay, it's a quantitative sequence of moments. And I'll give you guys some examples. So Matthew 2:7. Let me pull these up. I know I stopped doing this last week, but I had to do it this week because I didn't know we were doing this way. Come on, thing. It's not giving me the books I want. There we go. What did I say? Matthew 5:7? Oh, 2:7. Okay. Then Herod secretly sent the Magi and learned from them the exact time the star had first appeared. So that time, that date, that hour, those things are Chronos time. Another example, if you guys want to look it up, is Luke 1:54. Another one is John 5:6. I think I had John 5:6 specifically that I wanted to look up because it was a different type of thing. When Jesus noticed him lying there helpless, knowing that he had been in that condition a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to get well?" So it's that time that we can count on, that we can judge by. And then there's Chronos time. Chronos time is time that is your physical time. Okay. That's what we count by. It's your natural time. It's what we see in the natural. And then there's Kairos time. Kairos time is what a lot of people will call God's timing, God's perfect timing. So it is basically translated as a season, a moment. It's non-quantitative, and it's that opportune time. It's basically, in a different translation of it, the appointed time. Okay, so let's go to Ephesians 5:15. Oh, I hate it when it does this. There we go. So it says in Ephesians 5:15, and I think I'm in the Amplified. Therefore, see that you walk carefully, living life with honor, purpose, and courage, shunning those who tolerate and enable evil, not as the unwise, but as the wise, sensible, intelligent, discerning people, making the very most of your time on earth. That's your Chronos time. Recognizing and taking advantage of each opportunity and using it with wisdom and diligence, because the days are filled with evil. Okay, so what it's saying is use your Chronos time. And then it says, therefore, do not be foolish and thoughtless, but understand and firmly grasp what the will of the Lord is. Do not get drunk with wine. Oh, no, I only wanted to go to 17. Sorry. So be foolish and thoughtless, but understand and firmly grasp what the will of the Lord is. The will of the Lord right there is Kairos time. So it's saying use your Chronos time wisely to serve your Kairos timing. So what Kairos is it's that special time. It's not just any time, but the time. And it's the time seen from the divine side. It is what we say when we're talking about seeing with your spiritual eyes, letting things happen the way they're supposed to happen. It's God's timing. It's powerful, right, fixed by him, and used specifically for his purpose. So what happens is when you're walking in both, when you start moving in both of those things, that's when you hit the pleroma time. The literal translation of pleroma is filling, and it's the fullness of time, or when things are ripe. Hey, Lee. So what it is it's Kairos time values importance, not duration. Chronos time values counting it out. And we are supposed to walk in both of those things. So our Chronos time happens for us in the natural, but we're looking toward the Kairos timing of the promises to come that God gives us. So does that make sense, you guys? And then what happens is when those two things come together, like the birth of Jesus, That's when you get the pleroma time in the fullness. And I've got a bunch of scriptures to back this up if you guys want it. I don't know if we want to get into all that right now, but I want to get into more. And this is what I want to have the discussion about, really. And what I feel like he wants us to have the discussion about is the logistics of it and the emotional needs of both. And what happens when you allow, it's what we call when the stars align, or getting the ducks in a row. So here's what I'm talking about, you guys. It's right person, wrong time. That's when your Chronos time and your Kairos time are not matching up. So you guys have all mostly had that experience of you meet somebody and they're the right person at the wrong time. And then what happens later, if you meet up with them again, it might be the wrong time for the other person. But you know that you know that you know there is something there. That just means you haven't hit that pleroma time yet. You haven't hit that fullness of it. There is a purpose in it. It's just not yet. So sometimes that job that you want so desperately, it might not be time for that job yet. Does that make sense? So there is a time and a place for everything. God will line up everything and meet it together when it's supposed to meet. And when you are trying to force it, and this is part of why I've been struggling in this last week, is I am trying to force myself to understand that I want them both to be the same right now. Right now, I want to call God into, this is your divine timing. I want Kairos timing right now, Lord. And he said, just chill. You know, if I've told you that Kairos timing is coming, it's going to come together. I'm not a man. I don't lie. Those things are going to come together, but you have to keep your hands off of it. You have to continue walking in Chronos time like I've told you to, doing the things in Chronos time that I've told you to, following with the Kairos timing things that I do put in front of you, and letting everything else come into play when I want it to. Not when you want it to, not when you decide it's a fact, because here's the thing. When we try to force, okay, so Zachariah, when John was pregnant, when Elizabeth was pregnant with John, and you guys can look it up, Luke 1:20. So when that happened, and the angel told him, you will not speak again until the appointed time. That was the Kairos time. The Chronos time was the 9 months she was pregnant with John. The Kairos timing was when John was born and he wrote down his name as John. He did what he was supposed to do in the Chronos time. Then the Kairos time came to pass. And when those two things came together, that's the pleroma time. Does that make sense to you guys? So when we see Isaac's servant, was it Isaac's servant, Jacob's servant? I don't remember which one off the top of my head. When he went to go find a wife, it was Isaac's servant went to go find a wife for Jacob. When he went to go find a wife and Rebecca came up, he moved in Chronos time to go find him a wife. Days, weeks, months. He sat there where he was supposed to sit for the length of time he was supposed to sit. The Kairos timing was her showing up when she did. The same thing happened with Moses. Him in the basket in the Nile was Chronos time. Kairos time was the Pharaoh's daughter finding him just when she did. God bringing things together. That's the Kairos timing. And you guys, here's where I step into prophecy. Some of us are walking into our Kairos timing for exactly what he's promised you. The promises are about to come to pass. Last live, we talked about open doors. Open doors happen because of Kairos timing, because you've been patient, because you haven't forced the door open, because you haven't been banging on it, not listening to what he said. You have waited the Chronos time, and now the Kairos time is going to open that door for you to step through. Does that make sense? So this is where he was like, just let things happen the way I want them to happen, in the timing I give them to happen. So when I say the time is right, then the time is right. Sometimes you have to trust him to know the timing. Sometimes you have to trust him to show other people the timing. And for control freaks like me, that's really difficult. For those of us who that's our thorn, is wanting to keep our hands on everything because for so long we have had nothing under our control. That's why. Because when you do get control, you overly control. And he reminded me this morning that he is a good driver. He does not sit there and play, I am a control freak. Um, that he is a good driver, that he will drive the car and he's not going to be like, oh, look, hands off. Oh, look, it's just going to happen. It's not like that. He is driving that car with both hands. He knows exactly where to steer it, every bump in the road, because he's made the road. He's already laid everything out for you. He just wants you to sit back like he wants me to sit back and just, oh, now you want to talk. Now you want to speak up. I see how it is. Whatever. You two just go ahead and chat all you want. So what he's telling me is, let me drive the car. You sit in the back seat, enjoy the ride. Yeah. You guys sit in the back, or you sit in the back seat, Tina, and enjoy the ride and just let me drive it where it's going to go. Let me get you to the destination I have for you, because you don't need to sit there and drive the car for you. Whatever. You know what? All three of you guys can just chit chat on your own. Maybe you guys need a live. Whatever. So yeah. Anyway, that's all I really had for that. I know that you guys might have like your examples of it. So I want to kind of open this up tonight. I feel like that's what he was telling me this morning, is have this more of an open chat, have this more of, whoever wants to hop on can hop on. I've got my moderators. So yeah, I'm all right. I'm kind of cute sometimes. Whatever. Y'all can kiss my big toe. See how that goes? See, I open myself and I'm vulnerable, and you three want to just play games and talk shit. Whatever. Whatever. God's had to do a lot of work on me, and trust me, I know he rolls his eyes at me a lot. I know that I make his guardian angels over me like start drinking, and they have to go on workers' comp really quickly. They all have to go on like administrative leave because they're exhausted. I get it. I get it. I'm God's favorite pain in the butt. Trust me. I'm still his little girl. So there's that. And you guys, right? Everyone is picking on the little sister. Everyone. No, I'm a unicorn. Thank you very much. I am the unicorn here. Oh, you guys, whatever. Who would know? Nobody would know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows me. You guys all think you know me. Just because God makes me be 100% vulnerable with everybody now. Nobody knows. All right. So anybody want on? I know James is going to hop on because James always likes to talk. Plus, James is home now, guys. So he's super. I know you're messing with me. I know all three of you, all four of you. Even I'm surprised Ron's not piping in right now. I know all of you guys well enough to know that you guys love me to pieces. So not one of you would hurt me. It's all my big brothers. Except for one. That would be weird. Tony. James, are you hopping on? Because we know your Chronos time and Kairos time. You guys, and here's the thing. So how do you know? What does that look like in real life for everybody? So like I can give an example because I started thinking, okay, well, how do I explain this to everyone, Lord? Because what does it look like in their life? Because I know for a fact most people will sit there and say, I don't see you jumping on. I see a lot of people who will sit there and say, when it's God's will for your life, it'll be easy. It'll just happen. Everything will fall into place. I call bullshit. I'm going to call bull right now. And here's why I know that's not true, because it didn't happen easy for the disciples. It didn't happen easy in the areas I've seen. Oh, throw down the gauntlet. So it didn't happen easy. And I'll give you guys an example. So when James was going to come stay here for a little while, and he had to come down here. And when I went to go get him, everything the week before I went to go get him was so difficult. Everything was difficult for him. All these random things popped up out of the blue to make it not happen. Things started happening with me. I started getting opposition from people telling me how stupid it was, how wrong I was. And I knew that God said, he needs to come. He needs to come. And he told me flat out, you guys, as soon as he gets in that truck, all of hell is going to be on your tail. You can't talk while you're driving. You don't have video. You're just talking. He's always driving. So I knew that he was supposed to be here, but there was plenty of opposition. I don't have it. Oh, there it is. Hold on. Let me get you on. There we go. I mean, James can tell you too that there was plenty of opposition when he first came down here, and when he was first going to come down here. There was opposition when he got home. Right?
Yep. The closer you get to the promise, the harder it is to get through it. Like, the enemy will come real hard and he'll try to tell you whatever he has to tell you to keep you from doing what God tells you to do.
Yeah. I love how he says he's driving, but he can't talk, but he can text. He can text comments. We're just throwing down all the gauntlets tonight. Just everything's getting thrown down tonight. Everything. Every bit of it. And I know Manny's doing two things, otherwise he'd be on here too. Brett, are you wanting up? Where's Ryan tonight?
You know, he didn't fight me too hard when I went home. You told me I had to anoint my truck, and I never did have any problems.
Skilled. I wouldn't know. Yeah. I still anoint my truck. Huh?
Until I got back and then got that infection in my leg.
As soon as you got back.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as you got back. And then but then again, God used that. And look how many people you witnessed to in the hospital again. And then, brought different people. Some of them you recognized from visions.
Yeah, from visions and dreams.
And that's that Kairos time.
On a few of them, telling me exactly what to say in the moment and everything. So it was awesome.
And it's him bringing the right people at the right time in the right place and just lining all of that up. Like I said, it's the stars aligning that is that Kairos time. It's not a certain date. It can be. Well, like he told us, we all had this conversation. James, me, and Manny at different times had this conversation about Kairos timing aligning this weekend. Like this week and this weekend, that some Kairos timing things were going to align. And one of them was James going home, aligning with some other things. Now, there are going to be times when God has Kairos timing lined up. He tells you exactly when it is matched up with Chronos timing. He lets you know specific timelines and tells you exactly what's going to happen in that time. He tells you exactly what that open door is and then tells you, zip it. Don't say anything out loud. Yeah. Well, like I knew certain people were going to be on this live tonight because he told me they were. And you know who you are. So I knew exactly who was going to be able, and it's not like, oh, I called them and was like, hey, be on the live tonight. No, it was like the Lord told me this person will be on the live tonight. And this is what you say or don't say. And this is what you do or don't do. And this is how you act or don't act. Like he has been very specific with me about things I can and cannot do because he is aligning his timelines. He is aligning things in his Kairos time the way he wants it. And so in that, I refuse to get in the way for the first time in my life.
I have to say, when she learns, she does learn pretty fast. Like I've never seen anybody learn that fast.
Are you saying I'm a smart cookie? Are you throwing down the manna tonight?
Well, I guess if you need a bite to eat, I'll give you a little bit.
A little bit of manna tonight. Dad's throwing the manna out tonight. Trust me. He's been throwing it down all day. Yeah, Janny. And it is. And sometimes that is the hardest part. And one of the things the weirdest thing is God lined this thing up last night where a sermon from a pastor I don't usually listen to. Normally his sermons, they're good, but they're very milky. And so I don't listen to him a lot. I used to. I don't listen to him a lot. And all of a sudden one popped up on my timeline and I'm like, okay, I'll listen to it before I fall asleep tonight. And I started listening to it and it was about settling your mind. At least that's what the title of it was. But what it was really about, or what he wanted to strike me with, is when I was writing in my journal this morning, at the bottom of the page, it was the scripture, Isaiah 40 or Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I'm God. And that's one of my life verses because I need it more than anything else. I think all of you guys on here can attest to knowing me well enough to know that I need to learn to be still. But what I didn't realize until I was listening to that sermon today was, because I re-listened to it again today because it's only 30 minutes, was that be still in the Hebrew means stop striving. Stop trying to do it yourself. Let God be God. Or as Zulips has told me 1.5 million times, let God do his job. You just let it happen the way it's supposed to. Stop trying to do it for him. Stop trying to force things to happen. Yeah, because what happens is we start putting our hands on it and then he's like, no, stop. And he's got to fix what we mess up. He's got, and I mean, I've told you guys this before, but yet I still do it. So I am preaching to myself here. It's that let him do what he needs to do. Sorry, James, you were talking and I just totally ran.
Oh, no, you're good. I was just going to say that the last couple of weeks have been rough, especially that last surgery. And I just keep trying to put my mind in the future where I can look back and not feel pain. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a good analogy or whatever for someone, because the Lord's been telling me here lately, like, get it together, get on board with me, or you're going to get left behind because I have others that are coming. So yeah. That pretty much is saying exactly what you're saying, is to take your hands off of it, put on that peace and joy, and just wait.
And one of the things that Manny brought up last night to me when he was getting on me was that what the Lord was telling him to is go back and look at what he's already done. Start reciting to yourself all the promises he's already fulfilled to you, because if he's going to do those, yes, if he's going to do the other ones, why would he not do all the rest of them? Why would he not finish what he started in you? Why would he give a promise that involves so many people? Like my promise actually involves James and Manny, and he has us tied together in a way to where they are watching my promise come to pass and watching it fall into place in my life. And then that is giving them fuel for their promises to come as well. And their promises happening is giving me fuel for mine to come. And yet all of those together are going to move forward in something for the kingdom. Yeah, it's all ripples. And it's like, you guys have seen it where like a leaf lands in the water and then another leaf falls in a different place and those ripples cross over each other. That's what he does in the kingdom, is he brings people together to cross paths. And sometimes they will stay close, and other times they will go in different directions. I have a friend who's a pastor here, and him and his wife, great friends. They're actually one of the reasons why I started going to this church. And then now they're leaving to go on to bigger and better things. And I was really sad about it until the Lord told me, don't worry, you'll meet up with them again. In the future, you will work with them again. And they met James for a short time. And in that future thing, James may very well be working with them too. You know, if him and I are working together in ministry and then they end up, it crosses over, he will work with them at the same time. And he met them in a very random way, because it was one of those things that God definitely brought James and Manny and Brett and I together over this live, and Chris and Ron, and who knew? Who knew? That we didn't know. We didn't know what it was going to turn out to be. You know, we didn't know that James was going to come stay with me for 2.5 months. It's all God's way, God's timing, God's will, you know?
Yeah, when he tells you to move, you just move. You don't think too much about it or ask too many questions, which
I'm going to take a drink now.
Disturb your man on that one.
I'll just take a drink.
You know, and sometimes it's really hard. Your act of obedience is one of the greatest acts of obedience I've ever seen in my entire life. I didn't think you would actually do it, to be honest with you. Like, I have seen God ask other people to do things similar to that, and they're just like, nope, that's too crazy. Can't do that.
Chris says, and James will never be the same. That's true. That is absolutely true. He's seen Mad Tina. He will never be the same.
It was humbling.
Come on.
No, I'm just kidding.
These guys wish they could hang with me for 10 weeks.
You're a good sister. You got a big heart.
Shh, don't tell everyone. I don't want everyone to know that.
Someday somebody will get to see it.
We'll see. We'll see. Depends. That Kairos timing.
It's not your time yet, is what you're saying?
I don't know. I don't know. It's not up to me to decide when the time is. That's what I've come to the conclusion. Is it's just not. I just do what he says do. I follow the path that he says follow, and when he opens the door, he opens the door. But it's never been mine to decide. He told me, you just wait. You just sit here and wait and do what I say in the meantime. So it's never been mine to decide.
I think it's cool, though, too, where he gives you and Manny more of, like, the middle of the road kind of information. And he only gives me, like, the end result. So, but, I mean, that's cool, but because, I mean, at some point I'm, like, asking him, okay, do I need to be talking to you more often like they do, or do I need to just shut up and do what you told me? You know, whatever it might be, but...
Well, and you have to remember, like, he's given Brett some pieces. He's given you some pieces. He's given me puzzle pieces. He's given Janny puzzle pieces. You know, so, like, we don't know how all that ties in together. He's given Tim puzzle pieces. Like, we've all seen pieces of it, but none of us have seen that entire picture played out. Now, I will say that he has told me things that were going to happen along the way. Like, he has told me, you will be invited to speak and take every speaking engagement that's offered to you right now. And I was like, okay, well, now I didn't know what that looks like. I didn't know what to expect out of that, but I've been asked to speak 3 times. I've now been asked to lead up the ladies' Bible study at church, and I'm now doing the announcements at church. So, you know, in the last few months, he told me this, and I had no evidence that it was ever going to happen at all. Nobody knew me at my church, you guys. I knew a couple of people who, you know, I said hello to once in a while. Cody, are you on here? Happy birthday. I saw you pop in. I just wanted to say happy birthday. Yeah. And when it's complete, it's going to be a heavy duty chain. It's going to be something I can lock Brody up so he doesn't attack poor Sully.
And some of our visions were identical when we first all met, and so that's what really got us like, hey, well, maybe we need to push into this a little bit more. But I have to say, all my visions were in part. None of them were complete. Just like the first portion to get you going in a different direction, it seems like.
Yeah, and it's been difficult. And to answer that, Jeff, it's been difficult. It hasn't been an easy year, but I'm also leaning in. Like, I am happier than I've ever been. I am more joyful than I've ever been. And you guys, that was actually something he pointed out to me today. Because you know how we always sit there and say happiness is circumstantial, joy is from the Lord? You guys can disagree with me. We can discuss this, whatever you want to do. But one of the things he had me write down is happiness is Chronos time. It's the thing we can measure out. Joy is Kairos. Those two things can coexist. You can be happy and joyful. You can also be unhappy and joyful, or you can have no joy, but have happiness in the moment.
And the Lord used me in a way that confirmed to you that you had to come to a place in your life where you had to make a decision. Are you going to be a disciple, or are you going to follow a different path? And I remember you fought through that for
me?
I don't think it was that long.
Me argue with God and fight, kicking and screaming anywhere down the path at all? Are you kidding me? I would never do that. That doesn't sound like me at all.
Okay, well, there's proof you lie. So, no, but it was. That's what I'm saying. Like, usually, those things, I know when I had to make that decision, it took months for me to finally get in there and decide. And there was times, and I got left behind the first time. The Lord had something for me to move on, and I didn't do it. And He's like, "You're not ready, so you're going to stay back, and you're going to learn some things all over." And that's what happened. So, but this time I'm like, I ain't screwing this up. I don't care what comes. And so she had to make the same decision. Are you all in, or are you just going to have one more foot in the world? What are you going to do?
And it's not easy because God doesn't ask you to do easy things. And every time you meet the standard He gives you, He's like, all right, now let's take the next step. We're going to raise that bar a little bit. We're going to raise that bar a little bit. And now the standard for everything in my life is totally different. Like, the simple fact that He carried me through this with nobody with me to finish this out. I mean, I don't mean like now. I mean, like, as I finished my divorce, I did that alone. I did that, him and I. That's it. No friends, no family, nobody there standing next to me, looking like I was going to lose everything. I